That began a small dream is now standing in front of much bigger storm. This time, the whole story feels like a final test for Sultan Orhan. The test state begins as a small dream is now standing in front of longer, much time stormer. Only the sons of Osman Bey. He is no longer only a braver warrior who rider into danger. With his up, he is now the man who must carry the weight of growing state on his own shoulders. Every decision he makes can save his episode people or destroy them. Every move can open a new door or bring a new enemy to the gate. This is why the final updates feel so important. It is not just about one battle, it is about the future of the state, the trust of the people, the loyalty of the Bey, and the strength of Orhan hearts. At the start of this part of the story, the air around Orhan is heavy. There is victory in past, but there is danger in front of him. Bursa is not only a city in the story that has been chased for years, it is the place that can show the world that this small frontier principality has become something stronger. The people around Orhan knows this, the enemies know it into that is why the enemies does not want to fight Orhan in a simple way. They do not want to give him a clean battlefield where courage alone can decide the result. Instead, they want to trap him. They want to leave him between two fires. They want him to look at one danger while another danger move from behind. This is kind of game that test is a ruler more than a warrior. A warrior can win courage, but a ruler must win with courage, patience, intelligence, and timing. The biggest pressure on Orhan comes from the plan of the enemies. The Emperor and Sahinsas are not moving like careless men. They know that Orhan power is rising. They know that is Orhan is power rising. They know became stronger. Many castle, ports, and cities will no longer feel safe. So they try to surrounded him with fear before surrounding soldiers. Their plan is clear. They want Orhan to feel trapped between armies. They want his men to lose hope. They want the people of Bursa to think that help will not come. They want to question Orhan's judgment. This is not only a military attack, it is also a mental attack. The enemy wants to break the spirit of the state before breaking its wall. But Orhan is not the kind of man who waits for the enemy to complete his plan. This is where the story becomes stronger. Orhan learned that a large army is coming from constellations. He understands that his army is not moving without purpose. It is part of a larger trap. If those forces reach the correct point, the enemies can squeeze him from more than one direction. Many leaders which would panic in this moment. Some would full pack, some would wait and defend, some would can every man to one place and hope from the best. But Orhan does not only think about defense, he thinks about cutting the enemy plans before it becomes complete. He looks at the road of the enemy, the sea of the enemy, the ship of the enemy, and the timing of the enemy. Then he decided that if his ship at Karasai can be destroyed before they leave the port, the enemy whose plan can lose its strength. This is kind of move that shows Orhan grow. In the past, many people may have seen him as brave young Bey who had fire in his blood, but now he thinks like a state leader. He understands that the best victory is not always won by meeting the enemy in the open field. Sometimes the best victory is won before the main battles begin. Sometimes a ruler must break the bridge before the enemy crosses it. Sometimes he must burn the road before the army marches. The plan to destroy the ship is more than an action scene. It shows that Orhan has learned how to fight with the mind as much as with the sword. The ship as Karasai carry more than soldiers. They carry the enemy confidence, they carry the enemy plan, they carry the people hope. Orhan can be forced into a corner, so when Orhan aims to burn those ships, he is not only trying to destroy wood and sails, he is trying to destroy the enemy's timing, he is trying to turn a trap into confusion, he is trying to send a message that his enemies cannot move freely in the land and seas around his state. If he plans success, the enemy will not only lose hopes, they will use trust in their own plan. They will begin to question where Orhan will strike next. Fear will move from Orhan's side to the enemy side. This part of the story also gives a strong feeling of destiny. Orhan speaks and moves like a man who understands that history is watching him. He knows that the old days are gone. The days of only searching for a safe home are behind them. Now they are building a state. A tribe that one looks for a place to breathe has become a power that other must fear. But becoming a state also means that every mistake becomes more dangerous. A tribe can move it and land becomes unsafe. A state cannot run so easily. A tribe can survive by courage. A state must survive by order, justice, strategy, and unity. This is why Orhan word carry more weight now. He must inspire warrior, calm families, guides, protect women and children, and still look strong in front of enemies inside the palace and among the people. Emotions are also rising. A war is not only fought by men in armor, it is felt by every person who waits for news. Mothers wait, weavers wait, children listen to every sound outside the door. The palace may look strong from outside, but inside its hearts are shaking. Every victory brings relief, but every silence brings fear. This final update understand that the human side of war is just as important as the battlefield. Orhan can make plague, but the people around him must live with the pain of the war's plan. Every brave man who rides out leaves someone behind. Every sword raised in battles create a wound in heart. Somewhere else, Fatima and Ivrion bring one of the emotional line of this section. Their story carries the feeling of something unfinished in a world where keeps taking people away. Love become difficult. It is not easy to promise a future when every day may bring death. Fatma is not weak, and Hebron is not a man without courage, but courage does not remove pain. Their connection has been tested by time, duty, danger, and silence. The latest update gives the feeling that their incomplete meeting may finally move toward an answers, but in the kind of story happiness never come easily. Before love can breathe, war knock on the door again. Before two hearts can meet in peace, the state demands sacrifice. Fatma emotional weight is important because she represent more than one character love story. She represents the people who have lived under the shadow of duty for too long. She knows what it means to belong to family that carries a state in such a family. Personal wishes are softened pushes behind public needs. A normal person man can carry openly, calmly, complain loudly, and chooses love over duty. But Fatma cannot do this easily. She has grown up around sacrifice. She knows that even private pain must sometimes be hidden for sake of the larger causes. This is why has seen can become powerful when she looks at Ivrion. She is not only looking at the man she cares for, she is also looking at the life that war keeps delaying. Ivrion also stands at a strong point in the story. He is warrior, but his rule is not only a swing a sword. Men like him are the bones of a state. Our rulers may make the plan, but loyal man must carry it into danger. If Ron understands this, the knows that loyalty is not only spoken in front of fire or in a palace room. Loyalty is proved when the road is dark, when the enemy is close, and when the death looks possible. His connections with Fatma gives him a softer side, but it does not make him weaker. It makes his bravery more human. He is not fighting because he has nothing to else. He is fighting even thought he has something precious to lose. This kind of courage is deeper. The there is Hameline assertions their story brings another kind of pain. Hameline wears the hope, but hope can become for fear very quickly in times of war. When news come about Russians, the question is not only whether he is alive or dead. The real question is how much pain Helmai heart can carry. Waiting in one of the hardest part of a war. A person's one of the battlefield sees the danger with his own eyes, but the person waiting behind sees nothing clearly. Every sound becomes a sign. Every face entering the palace can bring joy or destruction. Hamalai fear shows the cost of every battle. The state may speak of victory, but families count the missing Russians. Possible metroidums give the story a serious spiritual feeling. In this historical drama, metroidom is not shown only as death, it is shows as sacrifice of a courage cues greater than the self. But even when metroidom is honorable, it is still painful for those who love the fallen. This is where the drama becomes human. It does not allow the audience to see battle only as glory. It reminds us that every brave name belongs to someone hurt. If Darshan fails, his name may be honored, but Hamaline will still feel the emptiness. If the survive, then their reunion will carry the weight of a miracle. Author's way the story uses this emotional alliance to show that the price of the state is paid by man people, not only by the ruler. Nilufar and Sporka also bring tensions to the inner world of the story. Their scenes are not just simple palace drama. They show how difficult it is to build unity when hearts carry jealousy, pride, fear, and pain in a growing state. The palace is not only a home, it is a place of political, emotional loyalty, and silence battles. Words spoken inside the palace can become as sharp as boredom outside when two women stand against each other emotionally. The issue is not always only persons, it can touch questions of positions, respect, motherhood, future, hair, and influences. This kind of tension can become dangerous if enemies learn how to use it. Nilufar places in the story is very meaningful. She is connected to Orhan not only through love but also through the future of the state. Her journey has not been simple. She has crossed line of culture, belief, loyalty, and personal change. Because of this, her emotions are layered. She may love Orhan deeply, but love inside a palace is never private. Everyone watch, every judgment, every actions can be misunderstood. Nilufar has to carry the pain of being close to power while still proving her places. This can make her strong, but it can also make her lonely. Sporka tensions with Nilufar can be written as shallow-fied, but in a stronger script, it should be more than that. Sporka should not feel like only a jealous woman. She should feel like a person with her own fears. Maybe she fears being forgotten. Maybe she fears losing respect. Maybe she fears that the palace will never sees the pain when two strong women clash. The better story is not that one is fully right and the other fully wrong. The better story is that carry wounds and those wounds speak before their wisdom can speak. This makes the palace scenes richer. It also gives the audience more to feel. Orhan's challenge is not only outside with our armies and ships, he also has to keep peace inside his home and state. This is one of the biggest tests of leadership. A ruler who wins battles but loses unity inside its own circle will suffer later. Enemies also search for cracks if there is anger between the women of the palace. Enemies may use it if the other doubt among the pay. Enemies may feed it. If the people feel fear, enemies may spread rumors. Orhan must understand that leadership it is not only about shouting orders, it is also about seeing pain before it becomes rebellion, listening before silence turns into distance, and giving justice before anger grows roots. The final update gives the feeling that Orhan is standing in the center of many circles. One circle is war, one circle is family, one circle is political, one circle is faith, one circle is the future. Every circle pulls him in different direction. If he gives all the attention to the battlefield, the palace may burn from inside. If he gives all attention to the palace, the enemy may burn the land from outside. If he becomes too soft from outside, if he becomes too soft, enemies many attack. If he becomes too hard, loves one many break. This balance is what makes his rule powerful. As the plan against the Karasai ships takes shape, the viewers can feel the tensions growing. This is the kind of missions that must be done with silence and speed. If the enemy learn about it early, the plan can fail. If one man makes a mistake, many can die. If he fire begins too late, the ship may already move. Orhan must chooses the right man, the right time, and the right path. This creates natural suspense. The audience does not need repeated speeches to feel danger. The danger is clearly the enemy is strong. The sea roads matters. The ship must not leave. The plan must work. A good script sections here should now Orhan studying the enemy like a hunter studies the forest. He shows ask where the sheep are guarded, how many men stand at the port, what kind of wind blows at night, where the oil is stored, where the watchmen change positions, and which path can bring his men close without being seen. This makes his plan believable. It also shows that Orhan's intelligence is growing. He is not only saying he will burn the ships, he is thinking about how to do it. Strong leadership lives in details. The base around Orhan may not all agree at first. Some may think the risk is too late. Some may say that Bursa should be protected first. Some may fear that sending me to Karasai will weaken for another front. These disagreements can make the script stronger because they show that Orhan is not surrounded by silent followers only. A real state has debate, a real council has fear, pride, experience, and different ideas. Orhan must listen, but he must also decide. A ruler who never listens becomes blind. A ruler who cannot decide becomes useless. Orhan must be neither blind nor work. In the council scenes, Orhan can speak in a calm but powerful way. He can explain that waiting for the enemy to gather full strength is more dangerous than strike early. He can tell the Bay that the enemy wants them to defend with fear, but they will attack with wisdom. He can remind them with a state does not grow by hiding behind walls, it grows by breaking the plans of those who wants to destroy it. His words should not be too complicated, they should be simple, sharp, and memorable. The best speeches in the historical drama are not always long, they are clear enough that every soldier can understand them, and strong enough that every enemy would fear them. Our relationship with the Alps is also important in this section. The Alps are not only soldiers, they are men who trusted him their lives before such a dangerous missions. Orhan should look at them as not tools but as brother his arms. He knows that some may not return. He knows that every order he gives may become the last road for someone. This awareness makes him a better leader, a clearness ruler spend make men like coins. Are true rulers know the value of every life, even when sacrifice is needed. The missions of Karasai can also show the difference between open courage and silence courage. In open battles, a warrior can shout, ride, and strike with full force. In our secret missions, courage may stay quiet. The stand must be steady, the breath must be controlled, the sword may stay in its cover until the last moment. Man must walk through darkness while knowing that one sound can and everything. This kind of tension and can the episode exciting without repeating old battle sense. It gives a different style to the actions. At the same time, the enemy should not be shown as a foolish. If the enemy is weak or Han victory feels small, the guard at Karasail should be alert, the commander should be suspicious, the poor should feel dangerous, there should be patrols, lockets, signals, fire and spices. This makes Orhan plan harder and more impressive. When the audience sees how difficult the mission is, they respect the success more. If the plans falls or first or faces are sudden problems, the suspense becomes even stronger. One powerful moment can come when Orhan realized that the enemy expected a direct attack but not a fire from within. This would show that the enemy still does not fully understand him. They may know his bravery, but they do not yet understand the depth of his strategy. This is common mistake of proud enemies. They look at young ruler and think he will attack anger. They do not expect patience. They expect sword, not silence. They expect noise, not a hidden flame. Orhan can use their arrogance against them. Back in Bursas, the emotional side should continue to rise. The people may hear rumors that two armies are not coming. Some fears the enemy that city will fall. Its will happy head. Some may ask whether Oran can protect them. This kind of public fear is important because it shows the stake. A ruler does not only fight for land, he fights for trust. If the people loses trust, even strong walls feel weak. If the people keep trust, even a wounded city can stand. Nilufar can play an important role here. She can try to calm the women and family. She can show that her place in or not only beside Orhan emotionally but also beside the people morally. A strong scenes can would show her walking among varied families, speaking gently, giving food, helping wounded men, and comforting a child who asks whether his father will return. This would show her value in a deeper way. It would be ruled the palace tensions by giving her a noble purpose beyond person's conflict. Asporka can also be given depth in the same environment instead of only showing anger or bravery. The script can show her doing something useful for the state. She may organize supplies, speak to women, prepare medicines, or help keep order. This allows the audience to see that even if her heart is trouble, she still belongs to the causes. It also makes her conflict with Nilufar more interesting because both women can be strong in different ways. The tension between them becomes emotional, not childish. A fresh writing styles should avoid repeating the same line like the enemy is coming again and again. Instead, every paragraph should move in every forward. One paragraph can show the enemy plan, another can show another answers, and other can show palace fears, another can show the silence mission, another show love under pressure, and another can show the people waiting. This keep the script alive. The silence should feel that the enemy's script alive. The audience should feel that the story is moving like a river, not walking in circles or an inner throat that can also be written in a simple but strong way. He may remember Osman Bey not in a copy paste emotional style but as a quiet pressures inside him. He may ask himself what his father would do, but the must also understand that the cannot only repeat his father. Every age has its own test. Osman may build their foundations, Orhan must carry it is to a larger world. Respecting the past does not mean standing still, it means taking the trust forward. This idea can be very powerful for a YouTube script because fans of series care deeply about legacy. The lines between father and son in important. Orhan's story is not about replacing Osman. Osman died, did not die. A state survive when the next generation can carry the dream without losing its soul. Orhan must show that he has learned from the past but is ready for new kind of war. The enemies around him are changing. The political map is changing. The state is growing. So his leadership must also grow. This is why the final update feels like a turning point. The imperial side can be described with cold confidence. He may believe that numbers will decide everything, and 8 million men force sounds strong and frightening. Large armies create fear before they can arrive, but history often shows that numbers also do not win. Even leadership is weakens, timing is broken, and morale is shaken. Orhan plan against the ship is dangerous because it's attack the enemy before those rumor can become useful. A large army without proper movement can become a heavy body without legs. Sainsa's rule can bring another layer. He is not only a outside enemy, he represents the danger of Muslim or religion power turning against Orhan of their own benefits. There makes the story more complex. Not army if enemy wears the same faces. Some enemies fight the empire, some fight for pride, some fight for revenge, some fight because Orhan rise their threatens their own power. Sahinsa's move showed that Orhan challenges is not only with Byzantine, his rises creates for among May groups. A growing state always creates jealous eyes. The kind of political pressures make Orhan positions more difficult. If we fight our only one enemy, he can focus, but when enemies is not joined hand, even for temporary benefit, he must think beyond normal battles. He must ask who gain from every move. He must watch not only the army is front of him but also the whisper behind him. This is also some fight because Orhan rises threatens their own power. Sainsa's move showed that Orhan challenge is not only with Byzantine. His rise creates fear among many groups. A growing state always creates jealousy eyes. This kind of political pressures make Orhan positions more difficult. If he fight only one enemy, he can focus, but when enemies join hands, even when temporary benefit, he must think beyond normal battle. He must ask who gains for every move. He must watch not only the army in front of him but also the whisper behind him. This is the world of statecraft. It is not clean, it is This is the world of statecraft. It is not clean, it is not simple, it is full of temporary friendship, hidden betrayal, and sudden change. Orhan must become strong enough to survive this world without losing justice. Justice is another important theme. Historical drama are strongest than the hero is not only powerful but also fair. Orhan claim to leadership must be based on more than victory. If the becomes cruel, he may win battles but lose the soul of the state. If he becomes too soft, enemies may destroy his people. Justice stands between weakness and cruelty. In this section, Orhan should show that his war is not for personal pride. He fights to protect his people, defend the state, and stop those who bring oppressions. This makes his missions morally stronger. The praise that the tribe has become a state is central to the feeling of the update. This idea can be expanded in the script. Once they were a people searching for a homeland. They moved with tent, animals, swords, and prayers. They carried their children through dust and fear. They bowed for water, land, and safety, but now they stand with cities, soldiers, laws, and responsibilities. The world sees them differently. Friends expect more from them, enemies fear more from them. Their own people and need more from them. This is both honor and burdens. Orhan face should show his burden. A weaker script would make him only heroic all the time. A stronger script shows that he feels the pressure but does not surrender to it. He may stand alone for a moment and look toward Bursa. He may hear distant sounds of preparations. He may know that everyone waits for his decisions. Is that quiet moment the audience sees the man behind the title. This makes his later courage more meaningful. He is brave not because he feels no fear but because he keeps walking while carrying fear, duty, and hope together. The preparations for war should be written with details. Blacksmiths strike iron late into the night. Horses are fed and checked. Arrows are counted. Shields are prepared. Women prepared clothes for wounds. Young boys watch the warrior and dream of becoming like them, while older men remember the cost of such dreams. The city does not sleep fully. Even when eyes closed, hearts remain awake. These atmospheres can make the sections cinematic without copying any scenes. The sound design in the script also can be described. The hammer on iron, the whisper of prayer, the footstep of guards on stone, the wind near the port, the low voices of commanders, the crackles of torches, the distant call of watchmen. These small details help the viewers feel inside the world. For YouTube narrations, the kind of writing work well because it creates image in the mind even without showing long clips. The mission at the port should be killed slowly. Orhan and his skeleted men move under darkness. They do not ride proudly with banners. They move like shadow. The sea is black. The ships stand like sleeping beasts. Enemy guard walk near the water, thinking the night belongs to them, but the night belongs to the one who understands it. Orhan watches, waits, and gives sign with his eyes more than his voice. Every man knows his place. Every step matters. At one moment, a guard may hear a small sound. These missions almost fail. A young up reaches for his sword, but Orhan stops him with a look. This shows discipline. Not every problem must be solved with immediate violence. Sometimes patience saves the missions. The guard moves on. The men breathe again. The audience feels the danger. This kind of sense gives tensions without needing repeated dialogues. When the fire finally begins, it should feel like the turning of fate. At first, only a small flame appears, then oil catches, then rope burns, then sails glow like red wings in the night. The enemy shouts, bell rings, men run in confusion. Some try to cut the ship's loose. Others try to save the supplies, but the first fire spread faster than their order. The pot becomes choice. In that choices, Orhan plans become clear. He has not only burned ships, he has burned the enemy confidence, but the scenes should not become too easy. The enemy may fight back hard. Orhan and his men may have to escape through a narrow path. One arms may be wounded and other may stay behind for a moment to hold off guards. Orhan may be forced to choose between completing the mission and saving a man. This creates drama, a perfect plan with no cost feel weeks. Orhan pain in such moment can show that leadership always demand difficult choices. The enemy commanders at Karasai should realize too late that this was not a random attack, this was a calculated strike. He may look at the burning ship and understand that the larger plan is now broken. His face should show fear, anger, and shame. He knows the Emperor will not accept excuses. He knows Ahimsa's timing may now fail. He knows Orhan has moved one step ahead. This enemy reaction is important because it confirms the success of Orhan's intelligence. While the fire rises at Karasai, Bursa waits without knowing at full trust. This contract is powerful. In one place, flames decide the future. In another place, people pray in the dark. Nilufar may look toward the distance if she can feel something has happened. Fatma may sit with worry in heart. Halim may wait for news of Darshan. Sporka may hide for own fear behind a strong face. This state is connected by invisible thread. What happens at the port will affect every heart in the places. When news arrives that the ship have branded, the first reaction should be disbelief. Such a bold move feels almost impossible. The disbelief becomes relief. Then relief becomes a renewed courage. The people understand that Orhan is not trapped. He has struck first. The way to doubt him may lower than eyes in respect. The soldiers may grip their swords with new confidence. Bursa's spirit rises. This is the real victory of the mission. The first at Karasai lights up in Bursa, but Orhan should not celebrate too much. A wise risers know that one success does not end the war. The enemy still has soldiers. The Emperor still has pride. Sainza still has ambitions. A broken plan can make enemies more dangerous because they become desperate. Orhan must return from one victory and prepare for the next test. This keeps the story moving forward and avoids making the episode feel finished too early. The emotional story should then come back with stronger force after a major mission. The audience needs human moment. Fatma and Vion can meet in a quiet space where the noise of a war feels for a short time. They may not speak with fancy words. Simple words are better. Fatma may ask why every road between them turns into a battlefield. Bronze may answer that some people are born in peaceful time and some are born when history demanded sacrifice. He may promises that it fate alone he will not leave their story unfinished, but he cannot promise his safety. This honesty make the sense stronger. Fatma can show that both love and strength. She should not only cry, she can tell him that she does not fear loving a warrior, but she fears the silence that comes after warrior leave. This is a beautiful emotional idea. It shows that the pain is not only death, it is waiting without answers. Ibron may understand this because he also fears leaving pain behind. These scenes should be full of controlled emotions. In historical drama, the most powerful love scenes often happen with few words and heavy eyes. Halim's storyline with Darshan can take a darker turn if the news about Darshan is unclear. Halim hopes become painful. People may avoid her eyes because they do not know what to say. She may ask direct questions, but no one gives a direct answer. This is one of the cruelest parts of waiting. A clear wounds can be treated, unclear fear keep bleeding inside. Helme may try to strong, but when she is alone, her strength cracks. This kind of scenes gives emotional depth to the episode. If Durston is alive but badly wounded, the reunion can be very moving. Helmine may see he is carried in, pale and weak, but breathing. For a moment the world stops. She does not need a long speech. Her says everything. She reaches him slowly, afraid that touching him may prove the pain is real. Durston may open his eyes and try to smile, not because he has no pain, but because he sees her. This would give the audience a strong emotional reward after fear. If the story chooses Metroidum, the scenes must be written with honor and grief. Ether's path can work, but it must not feel cheap. Nilüfer and Sporka tensions can also reach a more meaningful point after seeing the cost of war. Small jealousies may feel smaller, but deep wounds do not disappear instantly. They may face each other after helping the same, not both be stained with blood from the injured, not from fighting each other, but from serving the same state. This image can be powerful. It shows that the place conflict exists, but there larger cues in bigger. Nilüfer may says that the enemy outside is bigger and they should not become enemies inside. As Porca may not fully soften, but she may understand the trust of those words. This does not mean their conflict and immediately a realistic story lets tensions remain, but it's change shape. Instead of open anger, there may be quiet distance. Instead of sharp word, there may be guarded respect. This is better than sudden friendship because it feels real. People do not heal in one sense. They begin to understand the struggle, then slowly change. This gives future sections more material without repeating the same argument. Orhan returned to Bursa after the Karasai mission should feel strong. He does not return like a man who wants praise. He returns like a man who knows the real battle is still ahead. The people may look at him and with hope. The soldiers may stand taller. The Bey may wait for his next order. Orhan sees all of this and understands that people is also a responsibility. When people believe in you, you cannot become careless. This trust become another weight on your shoulder. A strong scenes can show Orhan entering the councils again, placing a burned from pieces of hope, rope and enemy banners on the table as proof that the ship are gone. He does not need to boast. The proof speaks there. Then he explained that the enemy's spot has been damaged, but their land force may still move. Now is the time to strike the next part of the plan. This keeps his leadership active. He does not stop at one victory. He uses one victory to create the next opportunity. The Bey may now listen with more respect. Their doubt has proved his vision, but Orhan should not humiliate them. A wise leader does not crush his own counsels after being proven right. He brings them closer. He can say that every warning they gave was useful because it forced the plan to become sharper. This show maturity. It also built unity. Leaders who turns every disagreement into a personal insult creates fear, not loyalty. Orhan must create loyalty. The enemies, meanwhile, must react. The Emperor may become furious when he learns that the ship have burned before leaving Karasai. His anger can show how important those ships were. He may accuse his commander of weakness. But one advisor may quietly say that Orhan is becoming more dangerous because he no longer fights only a frontier way, he fights like a ruler who understands the map. These lines would be powerful because it confirms Orhan growth from the enemy mouth. Sahinsas may react differently instead of open rage. He may become colder. He may understand that Orhan cannot be beaten with simple plan. This can lead him to consider betrayal, spices, or pressures inside Bursa. This keeps the thread alive. If the enemy loses one plan, he should create another. The final episode needs rising tension, not only one success after another. Orhan must feel that every victory opens a new danger. This is where the idea of internal spices can become useful. If enemies cannot beat Orhan from outside, they may try to weaken him from inside. A servant, a messenger, a traders, or even a trusted lookman can carry information. Rumors can spread that Orhan missions cost too many lives. Rumor can say the enemy army too bigger than trust. Rumors can say some they are unhappy. These whispers are cheap weapons, but they can wound deeply. Orhan state must fight both swords and lies. The script can show one such rumor moving through the people. At first, one person says quietly, the another repeat it. If they move here, soon people begin asking whether Bursa can survive. This show how fear spread. Then a strong counter scenes can show Orhan speaking to the people directly. He does not hide the danger. He tells them the trust in simple words. He says the enemy is strong, but their plan has been broken. He says fear is natural, but surrender is not. He says every person has a role, from the warrior on the wall to the mother praying at home. This kind of public speech can strengthen the emotional connections between Orhan and his people. The spiritual tone should also be present in Karasai style stories. Faith is not the decoration, it gives meaning to sacrifice. Before the next battle, Orhan may pray, but the prayer should not be written as a repeated formula. It should feel personal. He may ask Allah not for easy victory but for a clean heart, wise judgment, and strength to protect the oppressed. This shows that he understands power can be dangerous if the heart becomes proud. A ruler asking for humility is too a powerful image. The older wise characters, if present, can remind Orhan that a state is tested most after success. Defeat teaches patience, but success tests pride. After burning the ship, Orhan could easily become overconfident. A voice may warn him that the enemy biggest trap may come when the look weakest. This advice keep him grounded. It also gives the sections a moral loyal. Victory is good, but pride can ruin victory. The next moment of the story should bring all lines closer together. The enemy forces are still moving. Bursa is preparing. The palace is emotionally tense. Fatma and Yvonne are still uncurtained. Helmi is waiting for Darshan's fate. Nilüfer and Sporka can struggle to find balance. Orhan is planning the next move. All these threads should feel connected by one question: can this state survive the final storm without losing its soul? A good narration for YouTube can then shift into analysis. The audience should be told that episode 26 feels like more than a season ending. It feels like a message about Orhan transformations. In earlier parts, he may have been tested as a son, a warrior, a lover, and a babe. Now he is tested as a sultan. The difference is huge. A son can seek approval, a warrior can seek glory, can love seek reunion. A bey can seek victory for his bride, but a sultan must think about generation. He must make decisions that people may not understand today. This but victory history will understand later. This is the emotional power of Orhan. Latest update: the enemy think they are fighting a man, but they are really fighting an idea that has grown beyond one man. The dream of Osman has become a state. The state now has cities, soldiers, families, laws, and memory. Killing one plan cannot kill it. Burning one tent cannot end at blocking one road cannot stop it. This is why Orhan confidence feels different. He is not confidence because he thinks he cannot be wounded. He is confident because the accused in larger that his own lie. The script should also mention that the final episode creates a bridge toward Orhan's next goal. After Bursa, the eyes naturally turn toward bigger targets. The state cannot stop growing because its enemies will not stop attacking. If Orhan stands still, enemies will gather again. If he moves wisely, he can turn defense into expansion. This is why the final update carries the feeling of a new door opening. Even while one chapter closes, the story may end in one session, but Orhan's journey does not feel finished. It feels like the beginning of a large age. One of the most interesting things about this update it is how it mixes victory and uncertainty. The audience may feel excited about Orhan's plan, but they also worry about the emotional cost. This balance is important. If everyone is victory, the story becomes flat. If everything in pain, the story becomes too heavy. Rulus Orhan work best when hope and feels work together. The final update seems to use both. There is hope in Bursa, there is fear for Darshan, there is fire at Karasai, there is tensions between Nilufar and Sporka. This is love waiting between Fatima and Ibron. There is a large enemy still moving. This makes keep the story alive. For a rewritten script in is important to sound original and not repeat obscure lines. Instead of copying trailer wording, the narration should explain the meaning behind the update. For example, instead of only saying that Orhan wants to burn ships, we explain that the is attacking the enemy plan before the plan becomes complete. Instead of only saying that two enemies threat him, we explain that the enemies want to break his confidence and force him into a corner. Instead of only saying that Halamai worries about Darshans, we explain how waiting becomes its own kind of battlefield. This makes the script fresh. The style should stay easy to read. The sentence should not be difficult. The audience for the type of video often wants clear storyline, not academic language. Simple English can still be powerful. Words like danger, hope, fear, state, battle, trust, and sacrifice are easy but strong. The script should avoid confusing name or too many sides detail at once. Each paragraph should focus on one idea. This helps viewer follow the story even if they watch on mobile or listen while doing something else. The opening of the video can be dramatic if second that Orhan is facing the kind of test that decisions whether a rule is not brave or truly great. The enemy believe they have trapped him, but Orhan sees the trap before it closes. While Bursa waits and the places suffer in silence, and secret plan is born near the ship of Karasai. If the plan succeeds, the enemy's strength will burn before it can move If it fails, Orhan may lose man, time and hope. This opening give the audience and reason to keep watching. The middle of the sections should focus on the plan and the emotional side. The audience should understand both the military and human stakes. The military stake in that the enemy army and ship can surround it or harm. The human state is that every move risks life and break heart. The palace scenes should not feel separate from the battlefield. They should feel like the other side of it. When Orhan rides out, Nilufar feels it. When Evron's prepare of danger, Fatma feels it. When Darshan's fate becomes unclear, Halim feels it. War travel farther than the battlefield. The ending of sections 1 should not close everything, it should end with a strong hook for sections 2. After the ship burns and hope rises, the enemy should prepare a sharper answers, or the audience should feel the Orhan has won an important move, but the final storm is still coming. A good ending line can say that the fire at Karasai did not end the war, if only showed the enemy that Sultan Orhan was ready to fight in a way that they had not expected, and now with wounded pride and broken plans, the enemy would not come with patience, they would come with courage. These sections can move into a more cinematic narrations for the video. The voice should also down when describing palace pain and become sharper when describing military planning. The editors can use dark scenes, map torches, horse riding, varied faces and close up of swords. The next on screen can highlight simple phrases like the trap, the secret plan, Karasai ship, Bursa's way, Darsan is fate, and Orhan next move. These captions should be short because we were of short and long. YouTube video both responds well to clear visual points. The main message of this section is that Orhan's final update is not only about actions, it is about transformation. He is becoming the kind of ruler who does not only answer danger but read it early. He does not only fight enemies but break their plan. He does not only protect a city but protects the hope of our people. At the same time, he is still human. He has a family, a palace full of emotional, loyal men who may die and people who would depend on him. This mix of power and pain makes the story strong. As the final storm approaches, Bursa stands like a heart under pressure. Outside, enemies sharper their sword. At Karasai, she becomes target before the become weapon in the palace. Love, fear, jealousy and loyalty all move together. Orhan stands in the middle of it all, knowing that one wrong step can bring disaster, but this is what separates our normal leaders for a historical one. Our normal leaders wait for the storm and hope to survive. Orhan studies a storm, find its weak point, and strike before thunder falls. The audience should feel that the enemies made one great mistake. They believe Orhan would only defend. They believe he would stand in Bursa and wait for them to surrender him. They believe pressure would make him small, but pressure did the opposite. It made his mind sharper, it made him commander stronger, it made his state more united. The enemy wanted to close a cage around him, but Orhan reached for the lock before the door shut. This is the kind of storyline that keeps viewers connected. It gives them actions, emotions, strategy, and future suspense. If respect the latest update does not copy it, it turns the fact into original analysis and fresh narrations. It gives Every major story points a purpose. The ships are not only ships, they are the enemy plan. Bursa is not only a city. It is the future. Darshan is not only a wounded man, he is the cost of sacrifice. Fatma and Ibrons are not only a love story, they are the pain of waiting for pieces in a world of war. Nilufar and Sporka are not only places, tensions, they are the challenge of unity inside power. And Orhan is not only a warrior, he is the ruler begin shaped by fire. Now the sections can end with a strong closing paragraph for the voiceover. The final episode updates tell us that Sultan Orhan has entered the most dangerous state of his journey so far. The enemy has numbers, ship length, or pride, but Orhan has something they did not measure correctly. He has timing, courage, fate, and the mind of a ruler who is learning how to turn danger into opportunity. The night at Karasai may burn with fire, but the real flame inside Orhan visions a small tribe one search for a safe homeland. Now that same people stand a state and others and their enemies are beginning to understand that this state will not step back easily. The war is not over, the pain is not over, the test is over. But after this update, one thing is clear: Sultan Orhan is no longer waiting for history to come to him. He is riding forward to write itself. Orhan fire, Bursa fear, and the price of a state. The latest turn is Krulus Orhan make the story feels bigger than a normal fight between two sides. The action is not only about enemies coming with swords, soldiers, and ships. It is about a state standing on the edge of a new age. Orhan has reached a point where every decision carries the weight of thousands of lives. His name is no longer only connected to bravery, it is now connected to responsibility. The people look at him for safety, the soldiers look at him for commands, the they look at him for directions, the enemies look at him with fear and hate, because they understand that this rise can change the future of the whole region. In the part of the story, the fire does not only burn into the ship of Karasai, it burns in the heart of Orhan, in the fear of Bursa, in the pain of the palace, and in the eyes of coming back. Coming battle may decide the future of Osman Rim. Bursa stands at the center of everything. For the enemy, Bursa is not just a city, it is a prize that must not remain in Orhan stand for Orhan. Bursa is not just an land and wall, it is proof that the state is becoming real. A tribe can live under tent and move when danger becomes too strong, but a state must hold its place. A tribe can survive with courage alone for some time, but a state needs order, patience, justice, and planning. This is why Bursa matters so much. If Bursa stands strong, the people will believe that the state has a future. If Bursa falls into fear, every enemy will think that Orhan rises can still be stopped. This is why the battle around Bursa is not only fought with sword, it is fought in hearts, in rumor, in the trust between ruler and people, and in the silent prayer of families waiting behind closed doors. The enemies understand this trust very well. They do not want only to defeat Orhan on the battlefield, they want to shake him image, they want to make his people ask whether he can protect them. They want to make the Bey wonders whether his decisions are too dangerous. They want to make the palace feel pressures from inside. A strong ruler can survive one enemy in front of him, but when enemies attack from many sides, the best become harder. Orhan is not facing a simple attack, he is facing a plan designed to close around him like a trap. One side brings an enemy, and other side brings ships, and other side brings political pressure, and other side brings whisper and fear. The enemy wants Orhan to feel that no road is open, but this is where Orhan show the difference between a man who only reacts and a ruler who reads danger before it becomes complete. Orhan knows that if he waits for the enemy to gather all its strength, the cost will become much higher. Waiting can sometimes be wise, but his moment waiting can become a slow death. The enemy wants time. The enemy wants its ship to move. The enemy wants its army to arrive. The enemy wants to Bursa to hear the sound of danger from every direction. So Orhan chooses a different path. He decides that the enemy must not be allowed to finish its own plan. He understands that the ship and Karasai are not just wooden bodies floating and on water. They are the moving arms of the enemy's strategy. If those ships sails, the enemy hand becomes longer. If those ship burns before they leave, the enemy will rhythm break. This is why Orhan plan carries deep meaning. He does not only want to win a fight, he wants to destroy the enemy. Timing in a strong state, timing can be as sharp as a sword. A sword cuts the body, but timing cuts the plan. Orhan sees this clearly. He knows that a large army can become useless if it cannot move at the right moment. He knows that ships can become grave if they are trapped before the sail. He knows that enemy pride can become weakness if he struck before it is ready. This is a new kind of leadership for him. He is no longer only the brave son of a great father, he is becoming a man who understands map, road, ports, people, and fear. He is learning that power is not only in the arms, power is also in the eyes that sees early, the mind that chooses correctly, and the heart that does not shake when danger becomes large. The plan is turned burn. The Karasai ship is dangerous because it demands more the bravely. It demands silence, discipline, and trust. A normal battlefield gives a warrior space to shout, charge, and prove himself openly, but a night mission gives no such comfort. In darkness, one wrong step can end everything. One careless breath, one broken branch, one guard turning his head as his wrong movement, one nervous young soldier touched the sword too quickly, and the whole plan can fail. Orhan must choose men who can carry fear without letting it control them. He must choose men who obey a look, not only a loud command. He must choose men who know that victory sometimes comes some quietly before it becomes loud. Before the missions begin, Bursa is not sleeping. The city may be dark, but its heart is awake. The blacksmith's work late striking iron until sparks jump like small stars. Women prepare cloth for wounds. Old men sit in corner remembering Orhan other war and other night. Young babe watch the warrior from far away, wishing to the brave like them, not yet understanding the full price of bravery. Mothers hide their tears because they do not want their sons to leave with speak. Hurt wives look at their husbands' armor as every piece of metal in a prayer. Children ask a simple questions that no one can answer easily. While father returns, he will the city be safe while the enemy comes to outdoor. In times like this, even silence becomes heavy. The palace carries its own storm. Outside, people see stones, wall guards, flags, and others inside. Hearts are not made of stones. Nilufer tries to stand strong, but strength does not mean the absence of pain. She knows Orhan better than many people. She can see when its face calm, but his mind in carrying in mountains. She understands that his decisions are not easy. Even when he speaks with confidence, for Nilufar Orhan is not only a ruler, he is the man whose life is always being pulled away by duty. Every time the state needs him here, on heart must step back. This is the long lines of loving a ruler. You may be close to him, but history is always standing between you. Esporca also lives inside the difficult words. Her palace is not simple. She is tried to Orhan by duty, by position, and by a future that may still be forming. Some people may judge her quickly, but her heart is not empty. She had pride, fear, hope, and pain. She may not show everything clearly because the people is not a palace. Everywhere's feeling can be spoken openly. In the palace, words have weight. A small sentence can become a rumor. A look can become an insult. Silence can be misunderstood. As Porca knows this, she knows that every step she takes in watch. This makes her sharper at times, but beneath that sharpness there is a woman trying to understand where she truly belongs. The tensions between Nilufar and Esporca is not only a personal matter, it is mirror of the pressures inside power. When a state grows, the palace becomes more than a home. It becomes a place where emotions, politicals, loyalty, and future plans stands together. Nilufar carries the pain of old love and deep connections. Esporca carries the burden of a new place and uncertain respect. Their conflict should not be seen as a simple fight between two women. It is more meaningful than both are trying to survive in a world where their hearts are tied to a man who belongs not only with them but also to a state. This is why their sense can become powerful if written with care. The real enemy may be outside the wall, but pain inside the palace can still become dangerous if it is not handled with wisdom. Fatma's heart is also trapped between hope and fear. Her story with the bronze gives the section a strong but painful life. Love is peaceful. Times is already difficult, but love in time for war becomes a test of patience. Fatma cannot ask Ivrons to stop being a warrior. She knows his duty. She knows the state needs men like him. But knowing the trust does not remove the pain. Every time he rides out, he must face the same questions. Will this be the last time I see him? Will the next news be victory, injury, and martyrdom? This kind of waiting slowly burns the heart. It is loud like battles, but it is still a wound. Ivrons is not careless with Fatma's feeling. He may be brave, but he is not blind. He understands that every promises he can make are broken by words. He cannot honestly say that he will always return safely. He cannot promise a peaceful future when the road ahead is full of enemies, but he can promises loyalty. He can promises then even when the battlefield calls him away. His heart does not forget. This makes their relationship deep. It is not built on easy happiness, it is built on duty, longing, fear, and trust. Their scenes can remind the audience that warriors are not stone, they are people with love waiting behind them. Hamilai pain is different. Her very four darshans bring a sharp sadness into the story. In warm, these are many kinds of suffering. The warrior suffers from wounds and danger. The ruler suffers from decisions. The people suffer from fear. But those who wait for news suffer in a special way. They are trapped between hope and disasters. Helios does not know whether to pray for a miracle, prepares herself for grief, or refuses to believe the roast. Every face that tends the room becomes a possible answer. Every whispers make the heart stop. This walk waiting is true on battlefield, and Helmi fight it is without a sword. Darshan's possible fate gives the story spiritual weight. If the survive, his survivors will feel like Mercury after darkness. In he feel the Metroidums will remind everyone that the state is built not only for famous ruler but also by a loyal soul whose name may be spoken with tears. This is important because a historical story becomes stronger when it's remembered the hidden price of glory. A city may be taken, a flag may rise, and a ruler may be praised, but behind every victory there are families who have lost something. The audience must feel the cost, otherwise the battles becomes only noise. Orhan carries all this life in his decisions. When the stand is counsel, he is not only thinking about map, he is thinking about man who may not return. He is fighting about women who may become window. He is thinking about children who may grow without fathers. He is thinking about Bursa, the old dream of Osman, the future of the state, and the enemies waiting for any mistake. This is why his leadership feels heavy. A weaker ruler thinks only about victory. A true ruler thinks about the price of victory and still chooses the path that protects the future. In the councils, not every bay may agree with Orhan plan. This makes the story more realistic. Some may say the Karasai mission is too risky. Some may argue that Bursas must not be left with fewer defenders. Some may fear that the enemy wants exactly this to pull Orhan best man away from the main front. These doubts are not foolish, they are serious. Corner a strong counsel should have honest fear because only foolish men ignore danger. But Orhan must show why his plan is necessary. He can explain that defending Bursa without stopping the ship is like closing one gate while leaving another open. He can say that if the enemy control the sea, Bursa will not only face soldiers but also supply sports and pressures from unexpected side. The ship must burn before they become a larger problem. Orhan's words in the councils should be simple but powerful. He does not need to speak like a poet for too long. He must speak like a leader whose mind is clear. He can say that the enemy wants way to them, and because the enemy wants them, that they must not wait. He can say that the enemy trusts numbers, but numbers become weak when the path is broken. He can say that fear is not shameful, but allowing fear to make decisions is dangerous. These words can lift the councils without making the scenes respective. The point is clear. Orhan has measured the danger and he chooses again actions. After the councils, he chosen are prepare quietly. This preparation should feel like a normal battle's march. There should be not loud drums, not proud banners, no public celebrations. The men check their blades, rope, oil, and small tools. They speak little Each man knows that the mission depends on silence. Some may smile to hide fear, some may pray with their eyes closed, some may touch the ground of Bursa before leaving, as if asking the land to remember them if they do not return. Orhan watches them and understands that loyalty is not cheap. These men are not following them because life is easy. They are following him because they believe his path is worth the risk. Night comes like a dark curtain over the land. The road toward Karasai feels longer than usual. Horses move carefully. Men avoid open path. Wine carries the smell of water before the can see be seen. Orhan rides at the front, but does not ride like a man seeking glory. He rides like a commander carrying a secret flame. Every sounds matter: the cracks of a branch, the cry of a bird, the distant voice of a guard, the soft movement of armor undercloth. The closer Ben comes to the port, the more the night itself seems to hold its breath. At Karasai, the ship rests in the dark water like a gained shadow. They look silent, but their silence is dangerous. By morning, they can carry soldiers, weapons, and supplies. By morning, then may becomes part of the enemy trap. Orhan look at them and sees not whoop, rope, and sails, but the future danger they represent. This is why the missions must happen now. The enemy guards believe the port is safe. They believe the ships are protected. They believe Orhan is busy worrying about Bursa. Their confidence become their weakness. They have protected the obvious road, but they have not fully protected the possibility that Orhan will strike before the storm is complete. The man spread out his silence. One group moved toward the supply area and other moved close to the Orhan gives a sign with the hand. The youngest Abs feel his heart beating so hard that the think the enemy may hurt it. An older warrior places a hand on his shoulder for a moment, not to speak, not to steady him. These small gestures show brotherhood. War is not only fought by a famous name, it is also carried by a small act of courage between men who may never be praised in history. A guard suddenly turns. The whole mission freezes for a moment. Even the water seems silent. The guard listens. One arm slowly reaches for his danger dagger, but Orhan stops him with a sharp look. Killing too early can bring noise. Noise can bring failure. The guard waits from the move away. Only then do the man breathe again. This moment shows the difference between courage and discipline. Courage wants to act. Discipline knows when not to act. Orhan needs both from his men. The first flame begins small. It is almost nothing at the start. A thin light hiding near oil-spoked rope, but fire is patient in the first second and hungry in the next. It touches the rope, climbs and spreads. Another flame begins near the stored materials, then another near the lower side of a ship. The darkness starts to glow. The ship that were silent moment ago begins to crackle. The smoke rises. First the spark. The enemy notices too late. A shout breaks the night. Then another guards can. Some search for attackers. Some try to save the ship. Some do not understand what is happening. Their orders collapse into confusion. The fire grows fast. Sails catch like dry leaves. Ropes burn and fail. The water reflects red and gold, making the whole port look like it has become part of the flame. The enemy dreams begin to break. in front of their eyes. These ships were supposed to carry strength, but now they carry panic. Men shout command that no one follow. Buckets of water are passed too late. Soldiers push each other is confusion. The port commanders scream for control, but the fire has already become the loudest voice. Orhan watches only long enough to know the mission has succeeded. He does not stay for bride. A wise commander knows when he to leave. But escape is not simple. The enemy finally understands that this is attack, not an accident. Guards block one path. More men come from the side. Swords come out. The silence missions become a fast, sharp fight. Orhan and his arms must cut through without losing the purpose of the missions. The fire behind blades shine red. A wounded arms fall and another tries to like him. Orhan turns back for a moment because he cannot leave a loyal man easily. But the enemy presses closer. This is the pain of commands. Every second spent saving one life may risk may more, yet a ruler who forgets the value of one loyal man becomes empty. Orhan makes the choice quietly. He orders two men to carry the wounded up, while the Evron hold the path of a short time. Evron fight with controlled force. He does not waste moment. His sword is fast, but his eyes remain awake. He knows Fatma force face is somewhere in his heart, but does not allow that memory to weaken him. Instead, it gives him reasons to survive. He does not fight because he has nothing to lose. He fights because he has something worth returning to. That kind of courage is stronger than empty bravery. A man who loves behind him understands the value of life, and when such a man still risks himself, his sacrifice becomes deeper. One cuts through the last group of guards and leads the men into the dark road from the port. Behind them, the ship continued to burn. The enemy shout be faced, but the glow remains visible in the sky. The men do not cheep immediately. They are too shy, too alert, and too aware of what almost happened. Only after they reach safer ground does not Arp turns and whispers that the sea itself looks like it is burning. Orhan looks back, not with joy but a calm understanding. The first part of the enemy trap has been broken. In Bursas, the night is still full of worry. No one knows yet what has happened. Nilufar looks toward the distance as if can hurt here the road before the messengers arrive. As Porka stands in another part of the palace, refusing to show fear, but fear moves under her silence. Fatma cannot sleep. She strives to pray, but every prayer turns into Evron's name. Helmai wait for news of Darshans and feel that time itself has become cruel. The palace is full of people, but rich persons can feel alone with private fears. This is what war does. It gathers people together and still leaves every heart in its own darkness. When the first messengers reach Bursa, his horses is tries and yet with sweet guards move quickly. The news travel from gate to hall, from hall to councils. From councils, the waiting heart of the palace, the enemy port in choice Orhan is alive. The mission has success. For a moment, people do not know how to react. Relief comes so fast that it almost hurt. Some smile, some cry, some fall into prayer, some look at each other if as waking for a bad dream. Hope returns, but it returns with tears because everyone knows how close dangers came. Fatma hears that if Bronze survive and the strength she used to hold herself together almost break. She does not run through the palace like a careless girl. She stands still for a moment because deep relief can make the body weak. Then she asks if he is wounded. No one gives clear answers quickly enough. That small silence cut her when she finally sees him. Farah with dust on his face and blood and his sealed sleeves. Her eyes say more than their speech. Everyone tries to act strong, but Fatma sees through him. She knows what it means when a warrior hides pain. Their meeting is quiet, but it carries the whole weight of the night. She may ask him why every path between them passes through dangers, anger. He may answer that his age, then they more born into. But Fatma can say that she is tired of giving her to the road and waiting for its comeback. Wounded, they gives the hurt pain dignity. She is not asking him to betray his duty. She is asking him to understand the cost of his duty and her hurt. If Bronze can lower his eyes because he does understand this is what makes it painful. If he did not understand, the scenes would be simple because the understand and still must go again. The scenes becomes tragic and beautiful. Halim's waiting continue in a darker way. Good news about the ship does not answer her questions about Darshan. This is strong contrast. The state celebrates one success, but one heart still hangs over a cliff. This is how life works in war. Public victory does not erase private fear. Halim's heard people speak of the burned ship, but her mind remained on one name. Where is Darshan? Is he alive? Is he wounded? Did he call of her? Did anyone hold his hand? These questions did not let her breathe. If Darshan is brought back wounded, the scene must move slowly. Halim sees him before anyone speaks. His face to his plain, his clothes carry two marks battles. He is alive but not safe. The world becomes narrow around him. All the noises of Gursa despair. She walks through him as if the ground may break under the feet. But when he opens his eyes, even silently, it becomes a moment of mercury. He must try to speak, but she stops him. She does not need brave words. She only needs him to keep breathing. This kind of scene gives emotional depth to the victory at Karasai. It reminds us that even successful missions leave wound behind. In the story chooses Metroidums. For him, the emotional becomes even heavier. Halim's would not need to scream loudly for the scenes of hurt. Sometimes that grief is stronger. She could touch his hand if the cold and understand before anyone says the word. She could look at the people around her and sees that they already know. Then he hurts would come not like weakness but like a soul's breaking under the weight of love and honor. Darshan's name would be remembered, but memory does not replace present. This is the kind that makes Neutroidum scenes powerful. Honor lift the falls, but love still mourns them. Nilufar and Sporka face each other after the news from Karasai. The palace has been shaken by fear, and for a short time their personal tensions feel smaller than the larger danger. Nilufar may be helping with the wounded, Sporka may be organized supplies. Their hand may both be marked by the work of the night. They are not standing as rivals in the moment. They are standing as women carrying the burden of the same state. This image can open a new emotional path between them. They may not become first friends suddenly because deep wounds do not heal in one night, but they can begin to see each other beyond jealousy and pride. Nilufar can say that the enemy outside is already strong enough and the palace must be becomes another battlefield. As Porca may answers with pride and first, but her face shows that the world have reached her. She knows Nilufar is right, even it's accepting it is hard. As Porca may say that respect cannot be demanded with peaceful, beautiful words, it must be given in actions. Nilufar may accept this and reply that then both of them must prove through actions that the state is larger than their pain. The kind of dialogue gives both women strength. Nilufars become small, Nathars become foolish, their conflict becomes mature. Orhan returns after the mission should be written with quiet power. He entered Bursas not like a man hungry for praises, but like a man who has returned from one fire while knowing another is still ahead. The people look at him differently now. They already respected his courage, but now they see him planning. They understand that he died not wait for the enemy hand to close around them. He struck first the change his script of the city. Fear does not despair, but it becomes mixtures with trust, and trust is not one of the strongest walls a city can have. If the consuls or Khan does not boast, he palaces the results before the bay and speak of the next danger. The ship have burned, but the enemy army have not vanished. And imperial pride is wounded, and wounded pride can be reckless. Ahimsa's plan has been shaken, but a shaken enemy can become more cruel. Orhan knows that the burning of Karasai is not the end, it is the first answer. The next move must be sharper because the enemy now understand that Orhan will not act and they expected this make the war more dangerous. Not let some brave who doubt be missions may now feel ashamed, can see it in their faces, but he does not humiliate them. This is important. Our rulers who shame his own men after victory create silence, not loyalty in future councils. They may stop speaking honestly out of fears. Orhan need trust more than clarity, so he can tell them that their warning help sharpen the plan. By doing this, he turns disagreement into unity. He shows that he is strong enough to be questioned and wise enough to decide. This is a sign of a real ruler. On the enemy side, the burning of the ships creates anger and fear. The port commanders know that he has failed. The imperial expected movement, sports and pressures from the sea. Instead, they receive smoke, ashes, the shame. The failure is not small, it breaks confidence. The enemy begins to understand that Oran is not only defending Bursa, he is attacking the mind of their plan. This realization is dangerous for them. They can no longer treat like him a young ruler who will make emotional mistake. They must now accept that he is becoming a strategic threat. Sainsas may react with cold silence, unlike a commanders who shout his anger. A more dangerous enemy becomes quiet when his plan fails. He begins to think of another road. If ships are burned, he may use spices. If open pressures fail, he may use hidden pressure. If the battlefield become hard, he may try to create divisions inside Bursa. This makes the coming part of more intense. The enemy's sword has been blocked, but his positions may still move. Orhan must protect not only the walls but also the trust inside them. Rumors can become weapons now. Someone may whisper that Orhan risks too many men at Karasai. Someone may say the enemy arms is much larger than people know. Someone may say Abe is unhappy. Someone may say the palace is divided. None of these rumors needs to be fully true. Fear does not always ask proof. It spread because people are already worried. This is why leadership must fear from quickly. If Orhan lets Lee walk freely, they can do what swords could not do. They can weaken the inside of the state. The strongest can show Orhan speaking the people of Bursa. He does not hide the trust. He does not say there is no danger. That would be foolish and people would feel the lie. Instead, he tells them that danger is real but is not greater than their fight and unity. He says the enemy wanted to make Bursa feels alone, but Bursa is not alone. The state stand within, the AAP stand with is the prayer of the people stand within. He says every person has a duty. The warrior guards the wall, the mother strengthens the home, the craftsman prepares the tools, the heals tends the wounded, the child keeps hope alive by not surrounding by fear. This kind of speech can turn a frightening city into a living army of heart. The spiritual side of Orhan becomes important here. He must can follow victory to become pride. He has burned the enemy ship, but he knows the fire was not only from his own hand. He believes success comes with Allah help, and his belief keeps him is humble. In a quiet moment, he can pray for an easy road, but for a clean heart and a wise mind, he can ask to be protected from pride, because pride is a hidden enemy. A ruler may defeat many armies and still lose himself if pride enters his heart. This makes Orhan characters deeper. He is not stay only strong. He is aware of our dangers inside power. An older wise voice can remind him that the hardest test often comes after success. When a man loses, he knows he is weak and asks for help. When a man wins, he may begin to think he cannot fall. This is where many leaders and destroy. Orhan listens because he understands that wisdom is also a shield. He has brave men, sharp sword, and strong horses, but he also needs advice. The state cannot be built by one man pride. It must be built by shared loyalty, trust, and discipline. The leadership between Orhan and Osman memory should be felt in his sections without becoming repetitive. Some Orhan does not need to speak his father's name in every scene. Their memory can alive in his choice. When he protects the weak, Osman dream in there. Where he acts with justice, Orhan teaching in there. When he refuses to be trapped by fear, Orhan courage in there. But Orhan must also become himself a son. Honor his father not by copying every step but by carrying the dream into a new car. Osman built the foundations. Orhan must build a higher wall, wider roads, stronger roads, and a large vision. This is one of the strongest themes of Kurusan's Orhan. The state of changing from the people are no longer only surviving, they are organizing, they are claiming cities, They are dealing with empires, they are facing complex political. This means Orhan leadership must also change. He cannot rule only like a frontier warrior, he must rule like a man who understands the futures. He must think of trade, loyalty, justice, military movement, palace balance, and public trust. Every part matters. If one part breaks, the whole structure can shake. The palace balance becomes even more important after the Karasai victory. Niloufar may receive more love from the people because they see her helping the wounds. Sporka may feel that love and wonders whether she still always stand is someone else's shadow. This feeling can be painful and dangerous. A good spiritual could a good spiritual uh, script should not make a Sporka evil for feeling this. Many people's fear begins unseen. The palace make that fear stronger because every positions matter. But as Sporka must chooses whether her fear will make her bitter or stronger. This choice can shape the characters. Nilufar also has a choice. She can treat as Porka only a rivals, or she can recognize and other wounded hearts. Nilufar's strength will be shown not by winning every argument but by knowing when to rise above pain. If she can protect her dignity without becoming cruel, the audience will respect her more. Her love for Orhan is deep, but she must also understand that the state around him is larger than personal sorrow. This does not mean her pain in a small, it means her patience is great. Orhan too must handle it carefully. A ruler home can become a source of pieces or a source of weakness. If we ignore the pain inside the palace, it may grow into distance. If he gives attention unfairly, he may create small wounds. If he becomes harsh, he may silence the problem without healing it. He must show justice not only in public but also at once. This is difficult because emotions do not follow rules like soldiers. Hearts cannot be ordered into pieces, they must be understood. This is another test of his leadership. Meanwhile, Ibron's and Fatma's stories can move into a moment of decisions. After surviving Karasai, Ibron's made that feels like given him another chance. Fatma may feel that same, but she can also fear that this chance will be taken again. They may speak about the future, but the futures feel like a road covered by fog. If Bronze can tell her that they cannot leave Orhan's side while the state is under threat, Fatma can say she never asked him to leave duty only to stop leaving her in silence. This is a strong emotional point. Duty may separate them, but silence wounds more deeply than distance. If Ron can promise it that if he must ride again, he will not leave without words. This may seem small, but in such a life, small promises matter. Fatma can accept this not because it removes her fear, but because it gives her a respect. Love cannot always give safety, but it should give trust. This makes their relationship more mature. They do not live in a dream, they live in a world of war, and they try to keep honestly alive inside it. The wounded man from Karasai can also become a strong part of the sections. Orhan visits them. He does not send only servant of healer. He comes himself. This shows that the value sacrifice. One young ops may try to rise when Orhan enters, but Orhan tells him to stay still. He may place a hand on the man's shoulder and say that the state stands because of a man like him. This gives a dignity to the wounded. It also shows the peoples that Oran does not forget those who bleed for the decisions. A mother of a wounded soldier may look at Orhan Bill with mixed feelings. She is proud, but she is also fearing her son is alive but injured. She may thank Orhan and still carry this kind of movement is important because it shows the complex trust of leadership. People may love their ruler and still suffers because of her war. Oran must be strong enough to face their tears. He cannot hide behind victory. He must look at the cost directly. This is why what makes him worthy of commands. The enemy next move may begin with a spy entering the city under a harmless face. He may look like a traitor, a messenger, or a refuge. This creates a new kind of tension. After the actions of Karasai, the audience moved from fire and swords of suspicions and hidden danger. The spy hears people speaking, watches the palace gates, listens for names and search for crack. He may notice the tensions around Nilufar and Sporka. He may notice Fatma worry for Ibrons. He may notice Halimai grief or fear or to an enemy pain in information. This is why internal unity is so important. Orhan conceals that the enemy will not only comes openly now. He may others the gates watch more closely, messages checked and strangers questions, but he must also be careful not to create panic. If security becomes too harsh, people may feel punished. If it is too soft, spices may move freely again. Orhan must balance strength and justice. A growing state must protect itself without becoming cruel to its own people. This balance is hard, but it is necessary. The story can then return the larger enemy army. The loss of the ships does not need their march, it also them's anger with them and force with them to chance, but they will come. Their commanders may tell the soldiers that Oran attack was a desperate act, but deep inside they know it was not desperation, it was skill. Soldiers in the empty map camp may begin to speak of Orhan with unease. Some may say the strike like lightning. Some may say he knows their plans before the move fears begins to their enter side. This is another victory of fear. Your mind, his words becomes less steady. Bursa prepares for the next stage. The walls are checked, food is stored, water is guarded, horses are kept ready, scouts are sent, messengers ride between spots. The city becomes a body prepared for impact. Everyone has a rule. This helps show the difference between a scattered tribe and a organized state. In the past, survivals may have depend mostly on warriors. Now survivals depend on system supplies, information, healing, outers, and moral are part of the war. Oran understand this more with every test. A powerful visuals movement can show Oran standing above Bursa at dawn. After the Karasai night, the sky is slowly changing colors. Smoke from distant fire may still mark the horizons. The city below him in waken into another day of fear and hope. He knows that the history may remember victories, but it may not remember how heavy the morning felt. Before them, he looked at Bursa and quietly accepted that his life no longer belongs him fully to him. This is price of leadership. A ruler private wishes becomes smaller than the needs of his peoples. The peoples begins to speak of a Karasai that Orhan is guided as a ready the apps moral, but it also increases expectations. Every victory makes people believe that rulers can do the possible again. The belief is powerful, but it also becomes a poison of his own legend. He must continue to think clearly. He cannot chase bold move only because people admires bloodlines. Each action must serve the state. This is another mark of maturity. To courage is not always dramatic. Sometimes true courage is patience when everyone wants excitement. The next consuls can focus on what the enemy will do now. Some may expect a direct attack out of danger. Others may accept betrayal. Others may fear an attempt to cut supplies or harm listens and begins to build several possible answers. This show strategic depth. He does not excuse the enemy will choose only one path. He prepares for many. A good ruler does not fall in love with one plan. He keeps his mind open because war changes quickly. The enemy is alive and living. Enemy adopt. Orhan may send scouts towards the enemy army, but he may also send turns men into the markets and road around Bursas to listen for strange movement. This contact battlefield intelligence with public life information become as important as weapons. Our riders who bring true can news can save a city. A false rumors can and enrich it. The state that controls information wisely can survive storm that stronger but blinders powers cannot. Inside the palace, Nilufar may fears the Orhan is preparing again. She knows what this means. And other plan and other dangers and other night of waiting. She may wants to ask him to rest, but she knows that is luxury he does not have. Still, she can remind him that even our ruler body has limits. This gives a human moment. Orhan may smile tritely and say that Bursa will rest when dangers move away. Nilufar may answer that Bursa also needs him alive. This line is simple but meaningful. It shows love without weakening his duty. As Porka may sees his exchange from a distance and feel a quiet pain, not because Nilufar has done wrong, but because some bonds are visible even when no speak loudly. As Porka's struggle becomes internal. Will she allow his pain to turn into anger, or will she find her own place through survive and strength? A strong script can show her choosing action instead of fighting for attention with words. She belongs to earn respect through deeds. She may take charge of palace supplies for help, organize safe places for families if the enemy reaches the wall. This gives the purpose beyond rivalry. Halim's whether giving caring for Darsans can also become part of the state emotional strength. If Darsan is alive, he may say it's beside him and fear him speak of returning to duty before his body is ready. She may become angry because men of war sometimes treats their lives as if they belongs only to the battlefield. She can tell him that sacrifice is honorable, but throwing away life carelessly is not honor. This gives her strength and wisdom. If Darsan and fallen Halim, I may try her grief in prayer and deserve helping others who wounds. This would show that pain can become strength without becoming forgetfulness. The script should make clear that if everyone is changing because of the crisis or harm becomes sharper, the way becomes more united. Fatma becomes more honest about the pain. If Bronze becomes more aware of the heart waiting for him. Nilufar becomes stronger in public survive as Porka begins to search for her own dignity. Helene faces cruel trust of war. Bursa becomes more that a place it becomes a living characters. This is how our sections avoid repetitions. Each paragraph should move someone forward as the enemy approaches the next stage. Orhan can create a trap of his own since the enemy expected him to defend and survive when he attacked Karasais. They may know how expect another bold strike. Orhan can use that expectation. He may not show movement in one direction while preparing defense in another. He may let a false messages falls into the enemy hands. He may move supplies secretly at night. This would show that he is not repeating one tactic, he is adapting a more hero must not win the same way every time. The enemy learns, so Orhan must learn faster. The enemy spies inside Bursas may hear a false pieces of information and carry it out thinking he has success. This can create suspense. The audience know Orhan may be setting a trap, but they do not know how far the trap goes. The enemy hunger to recover from the shame of Karasai may expect the information too quickly. Pride makes people believe what they want to be true. If Sahinsas want to believe Orhan is overconfident, he may walk into a plan built around that belief. This would connect the theme of pride from both sides. Orhan fight his own pride through prayers and advice, while the enemy falls deeper into pride. The people of Bursa still feel fears, but now fear is mixed with participation. They are not only waiting helplessly, they are helping. This change matters. The city becomes stronger when its people feel they part of the defense. Women prepare food and bandage. Craftsmaids repairs weapon. Elders guides attention. Prepares prayers rise from home. The state is not only Orhan sitting in councils. The state is everyone who chooses not to surrender to fear. This idea gives the script heart. A good voice-over can describe Bursa as a city breathes through dangers at night and hold its breath as dawn is open its eyes again. Every gate becomes an eyelid, every tower becomes a watchful face, every home becomes a smart protest of prayer. This kind of language makes the section cinematic but still easy to understand. It helps the viewers face the city as a live. Orhan next speech to his soldiers should be different from the speech to the people. To the people he gives calm and hope. To the soldiers he gives clarity and fire. He tells them that the enemy will come angry because their ships have burned. Angry enemies make mistakes, but they are also dangerous. He tells him men not to chase glory. He tells them to hold lines, listen to commands, protect each other, and remember why they fight. They do not fight to show strength for one day, they fight to save children. can alive under a stronger state tomorrow. This gives the battles a future's meaning. Everyone can stand among the soldiers and hear these words with deep focus. He knows he may soon ride again. Fatma face prepares in his mind, but his time he does not push it away. He let it become part of the courage. He understands that love and duty are not always enemies. Love can remind a warrior what is a protected duty and gives love which to survive. This is mature emotional idea that can make his character stronger. In the palace, may prepare something small for everyone before Fatma may prepare something small to Ibrahim before he leaves. Prepares a cloth, a prayer, or a simple token. She does not make a dramatic scene. She gives quietly. He is accept it with respect. Their eyes meet, and both know that words are not enough. This small moment can be more powerful than a long romantic speech in a world of war. A small token can carry a whole world. Nilufar may also speak with Orhan before the next move. She can tell him that Iranians believe in him more after Karasai, but belief is fragile in pain grows too much. Orhan may ask whether she may think he pushing him them to hurt some. She may answer that she thinks he is carrying them as a fair as he can, but he must can also let them carry him through prayers, loyalty, and trust. This gives their relationship wisdom. Nilufar is not only theirs to worry, she helped him the human side of rule. As Porka moment with Orhan can be different. She may not speak with the same softness. She may speak with direct honesty. She may say that the palace watches everything, and if he wants unity, he must not leave silence when clarity is needed. This may survive Orhan, but it can also make him respect her. As Porka's strength is not the same as Nilufar, she may be sharper, but sharpness can be useful when it tells the trust. This gives Orhan another angle on the problems inside his home. These sections can get moved toward a strong build up. The enemy arm is close enough that scouts bright clears reports dust rises on the roads. Fire RCs as night. Enemy banners move under the sun. The son of Dermas may be heard faintly from far away. Bursa knows the next test is near. The Karasai 5 brought time and broken a plan, but it is not removed the war. Now the enemy comes with anger, but angers can be both weakened and dangerous. Oran studies the report. He asks where the enemy is, tries where their supplies move, which commanders leads which side, and whether Sainsa's men are fully loyal to the Ibron's plan. This is important because a license built on interest can break. A license built on interest can break under pressures. The Iran's Empire and Sainsa's may stand together against Orhan, but they do not fully trust each other. Orhan can use this question if two enemies. Her fear is their glue in the crease. That fear is in a right way. The glue can crack. The gives Orhan another path. He does not always need to destroy every enemy soldiers. Sometimes he can make enemies doubt each other. He can create pressures that exposes their selfish aims. The Emperor may want Bursa for empire. Sainsa's may wants power for himself. Their goals are not exactly the same. Orhan can use that different. This is state thinking. It is not war. It is political, physiologically, and timing. Messengers may be spent with carefully with sword or a false sign may be placed. Every enemy scout can see it. The purpose is to make one enemy suspect the others of hiding information. If done well, the enemy camp begins to argue. One commanders blame another for Karasai questions Byzantine intelligence. The imperial man questions Sainsa's loyalty even if the conflict is small. It slows them. A divided enemy is easier to face than a united one. Orhan's mind becomes an unseen blade. However, the script should not make Orhan unbeatable. He must face setback too. Maybe one scout is captured, maybe the enemy discovers part of the false plan. Maybe a spy inside Bursa escapes before beginning coach. Maybe a wounded man bring news that one of others Orhan outer sports has fallen. These step back keep the story honest. A great ruler is not great because everything goes perfectly. He is great because he adjusts when things go wrong. This is where tensions stay alive. When bad news arrives, some people in Bursa may begin to fear that again hope rises quickly after victory, but fear returns quickly after losses. Orhan must not become angry at the people for fearing. Fear is human. Instead, he must give the reasons to stand. He can increase protections, send help to the wounded, and show himself in public. A ruler's presence can calm people more than mass wars. When people see Orhan walking among them, not hiding in the palace, they feel that her shares her danger. This builds trust. A powerful scenes can show a child giving Orhan a smile, wooden swords, and saying he fights. When he grows, Orhan can knees and tell him that the stand state needs brave hearts, but it also needs wise minds and clear hand. He can tell the child to grow first, learn prayers, and protect the weak. These small movements show Orhan visions for the future. He is not building a state only for warrior. He is building a world where children can grow into good people. The final part of the section should bring the emotional and military lines together. The enemy is close, Bursa is ready. The palace is tense but stronger. The people are afraid but active. Orhan has burned the ship, answers the rumors, strength the councils, and prepared for the next move. Yet the hardest test has not arrived. The creates a strong ending. The audience feel progress but not complexions. At sunset, Orhan can stand with his closest men and look toward the road where the enemy will come. The sky is red, reminding everyone for the fire at Karasai, but his red sky also warms of blood. Imran stands near him, wounded but ready. The babe stand behind them for away. Bursa was held the last night of the day. Inside the city, Nilufar, Asporka, Fatma, and Helme each carry a different prayers, but all prayers rises toward the same hope that the state will survive and that the people they love will return. Orhan said that the enemy believe fire belongs only to destruction, but from them fire can also become a sign of rebirth. These ships burned them. The enemy wanted to use them to choose Bursa. Then fire has opened a breath for the city, but breath is not enough. They must now breathe into strength. He tells his men that tomorrow will not ask who was afraid, but everyone honest man feels fear. Tomorrow will ask who stood firm despite fear. This is a powerful message because it makes courage human. The sections can close with a strong narration, the kind of Karasai changed the directions of the war, but it did not end the storm. Oran proved that the could strike before the enemy was ready. Bursa proved that fear could be turned into unity. The palace proved that even wounded hearts could serve the same cues, but the enemy was still moving, and now their anger was sharper than before. The ashes of the burned ship rose into the sky like a warning. Sultan Orhan had broken one side of the trap, but the final crack had not yet opened. The next battles would not only test sword and walls, it would test loyalty, patience, love, and the souls of the state. And this is why Krulus Orhan's latest update feels so powerful. It does not show Orhan as a man who wins because the enemy is weak. It shows him as a ruler who wins moment because he stands dangers faster than other. He shows that the dream of Osman is no longer a small flame protected inside a tent. It has become a fire large enough to light cities and frighten empires, but every fire needs garden. In the winds of pride grows too strong, if can turns against its own people. If rains of fear becomes too heavy, it can die. Orhan must protect the false with wisdom, faith, and sacrifice. Bursa's wait, the soldiers wait, the palace waits for enemy. The comes the ashes of Karasai are still warm, and the road ahead is full of danger, but Orhan no longer stands and only the son of Osman. He stands as the man who must prove that the state can survive in first great storm. His sword is ready, but more importantly, his mind is awake. His people are afraid, but they are not broken. His enemies are angry, but they are no longer confident. But and as the dark night settles over Bursa, one trust becomes clear. The war is moving into a new phase, and Sultan Orhan is ready to meet in one only with courage. But if the full weight of the ruler hurt the enemy shadow, and Orhan new test after the fire at Karasai, the whole directions of the war changes. The enemy had believed that their plan was strong and almost impossible to stop. They had ship, soldiers, can movement, and the confidence of a man who through numbers could crush a growing state. But Orhan showed them that a plan can be broken before it reaches the battlefield. He did not wait from the enemy to stand in front of Bursa with for power. He moved early. He struck the part of the plan that the enemy trusted most. The burning ship became a more than a military loses. They became a wound to enemy pride. They became a sign that Orhan was not trapped in fear. He has watched thinking and actions before his enemies could finish their game. But victory at Karasai does not bring pieces, it brings as new kind of danger. When an enemy loses with shame, he